does not have to be difficult. You don't have to struggle and suffer in order for you to live an abundant life. Welcome or welcome back at your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance. And yes, that is what we're going to be talking about in today's video. Now, with that being said, because there's no right or wrong way to heal yourself, always and only take what resonates as well as leave the rest. So if it doesn't apply, it's not for you. Don't force it. Let it fly. But most importantly, grab your pens, grab your paper, and be prepared to take notes. In this video, we're going to go over and discuss why life is so simple, how to make it so much easier, and avoid people and places and things who want to struggle and suffer, as well as certain recommendations, some reminders, some disclaimers, and what you should be expecting and should be aware of. Starting off with the introduction, starting off with the disclaimer. Life does not have to be challenging. Life does not have to be difficult. Why? Because life is about choices. Until you realize that you are going to be responsible for the choices that you make, and certain choices come with consequences, whether they're long-term, permanent, or in the moment, you will have this mindset of thinking that you have to struggle, that you have to get it out the mud, that you have to work hard. In the year 2025 and moving into 2026, and as you just mature and when you come across these videos, we're not here to suffer, we're not here to struggle. Just because you grew up and you were taught struggling and suffering, that's in the past. And you have to realize that if you want to live a peaceful and soft and abundant life, you have to choose those things. The second disclaimer, and I'm going to elaborate each disclaimer with the recommendation. So before you say it's not that easy, we'll get into that. Let's just go over the disclaimers first, okay? The second disclaimer is that when you want to live a simple and soft and easy life, because it is a choice, you have to be accountable and responsible. So going back to the first disclaimer, if you grew up in an environment or you grew up around certain people and places and things, and all they knew was struggling and suffering and poverty and paycheck to paycheck and just things that you no longer want to resonate with, it is okay that you experience that community or that environment, but you have to make a decision consciously, emotionally, physically, financially, howeverly, that just because you were installed certain beliefs doesn't mean that you have to continue to resonate with them, that you have to continue to allow it to be indoctrinated or programmed in your everyday life. So it is so important that when you want to choose a simple life, you have to start surrounding yourself with people who make things simple for you. You have to start cutting off people and places and things. You get your handy dandy scissors from people and places and things who make things difficult for you. So for example, growing up, I've been around people that made my life very easy, and people who lived easy lives. I even lived an easy life, and there were certain people in my life who thought they were going to make things so much harder for me. Once I had the resources and the tools, and I was able to separate myself from them, I did not make excuses for them. Everybody in the world is not poor. Everybody did not grow up in poverty. Everyone is not suffering. And as somebody who's very fortunate, has been fortunate their entire life, I'm letting you know, you don't have to struggle just because you saw certain things growing up, just because you were struggling previously. If you don't want that to be your portion, if you don't want that to be your life, you're allowed to make that decision, but you have to be accountable and responsible. The only reason why life just seems so much difficult is because a lot of times when we say we want an easy life or we want to do some simple things, we don't want to do the work. This doesn't mean that when you want a simple life that there aren't tasks, that there aren't things that you have to switch up, that there aren't going to be things that you have to do. But it's like, if you want it, why would it be difficult? If you want to live an abundant life, if you want to live in a healthy environment, if you want to have a healthy relationships with certain people, if that's what you want, why would you not take the time to do it? It's only difficult when you refuse to do what you know you need to do. So the third disclaimer is knowing that you either are going to live a simple life or you're not. You can't make excuses about your life suffering and going through trials and tribulations if that's what you're focusing on, if that's who you surround yourself with, if you're not willing to realize what resources you have, what do you lack, what do I need to do, what tools do I need to get. So for example, if you're driving on the road and you get a nail in your tire, you get a flat tire, what could you do in that moment? You're going to have to pull over. You're going to have to call somebody to come get you. You may have to call somebody to tow your car. You may have to call your insurance. If you don't have a spare tire, you may have to leave your car there. Is it an inconvenience? Yes. But if you have the finances to get a new tire or have somebody come get you or get your car towed, what is there to complain about? What is there to worry about? And let's just say you don't have the money. If you don't have the money to fix your problems in the moment, why stress over it? Why worry? It's not going to change the fact that you have to deal with this. Life is always going to life. We're always going to go through things. But the purpose of our life being easier is to learn the lesson. Until you learn the lesson, your life is going to be so hard. And you guys, I know from experience, I went through certain things. And God bless the dead. My dad told me that a long time ago when I was a little girl. My dad told me, he said, Ty, your life is going to be hard. Your life is going to be difficult, because he was trying to discipline me, but I was too young. I did not have a certain level of comprehension. I was, like I said, a little girl when he told me this. It was a long time ago, like 5, 6, 7, 8 years old. He told me that a long time ago. It wasn't until I was able to mature, become a teenager, become an adult in my earlier 20s. Like, you know, as I got older, I realized, okay, the only reason why my life at that time seemed so difficult and so challenging was because I wasn't listening. I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, and I wasn't honest. That's the same thing with ourselves. Just because we grew up seeing certain things or because we lived a life doesn't mean that we have to continue to live that way. So therefore, disclaimer when living an easy life is knowing that it's a possibility. You see people on YouTube, you see people on social media, you see people on TikTok, you know people, you see people reach goals that you want for yourself. If it wasn't possible, you wouldn't be able to see it, you wouldn't be able to think about it. And for those of you who are envious and insecure, you wouldn't be jealous of people, you wouldn't be intimidated by people, you wouldn't be bothered by people. You wouldn't be like, oh, I wish that was in me, or that's good for them. You wouldn't feel any type of way. So you need to know that it's possible to live an easy life. It's possible. There's people you see all the time. I know a lot of you all, you may not be honest and say it even though you need to, okay, as your favorite rich auntie. Now I'm getting your favorite rich auntie bag instead of your mental health specialist. I'm both, but it's like a lot of people just need to be honest with themselves. Like, instead of hating on people, just realize, okay, if she's able to do this or he's able to do this, then that means that there's a possibility for me to do it as well. But you're not going to have the same outcome as them. You just have to be willing to put in the work. Do you have the same resources? Do you have the same finances? Do you know what they did to get to where they are? No. But it's like, if that's what you want, wouldn't you do it? When you want something to eat, don't you make sure you have the ingredients to cook your food, the recipe? Don't you make sure you have enough money to order Uber Eats, DoorDash? Don't you make sure that you go to the store and get the utensils that you need? When you want to look a certain type of way, don't you make sure that you have everything that you need for Halloween or whatever it is? Like, you make time, energy for everything else, so what's the difference? So lastly, when living this simple life, you got to start making things simple for you. So anytime you having any trials and tribulations, you got to learn how to problem solve. That's it. It's so simple. Once you learn how to problem solve, you will figure it out. Now, of course, how soon are you going to solve your problems? It all depends on your resources, your tools, your mindsets, and when you're supposed to overcome certain things. Some things may be not as tangible or tangible for you to solve. So like, some things may not require the same amount of energy and effort. So the example I gave was you having a flat tire on the road. Like I said, if you have the money to get the flat tire fixed, you could solve your problem. It may only take 30 minutes to 5 hours. If you don't have the money, it may take you a couple of days. It may take you a couple of weeks. You may have to walk to work. You may have to Uber to work. You can't be too above yourself or too prideful, because that's another reason why so many people have a hard time, is because they're prideful. Not because they don't have the resources, not because they don't have the discernment, not because they're not wise. Some people are prideful, but a hard head makes a soft behind. You can't be prideful. If you have a flat tire and you have to walk to work, you can't be embarrassed or ashamed or be like, oh my God, people are going to judge me because I have to walk to work and everybody else has a car. If they're not giving you a ride to your job, doesn't matter. You can't worry about what people are thinking about you when you're doing what you need to do if you don't have certain things. And I'm speaking from experience. There were times in my life, you guys, I had a car. There were times I had to walk to work. I was never embarrassed. I was never ashamed. That was my situation. Me crying and Nobody cared. I mean, other than the people who did care, because there were people, like I said, in my life who, asked to give me rides or etc. whatever it was. But it's just like, if people don't finance you, feed you, educate you, and they're not being honest or helping you solve problems and your solutions, doesn't matter. You're the one who has to go to work. Would you rather walk to work or lose your job? Let's be real. Like, if it's not life or death, if it's not health, like if you don't have disabilities or you're disabled, you could come up with a solution. And even with the life and death, even when you get sick, what do we do when we get sick? We go to the doctors. We go to our local urgent care or Medicare or whatever local clinic. We call somebody. We go on YouTube. We go on TikTok. How do we not get sick? Like, we have the resources. If you're on YouTube, you have the resources because you can use your phone. And if you don't have insurance, okay, you could get it billed to you. Or if you don't have insurance and you don't have money or you don't have transportation, you may just naturally have to wait for it to come out of your system. Because medicine is temporary. And that's a different topic within itself. I'm not going to get too far into the rabbit hole. I'm going to keep it cute. I'm getting into the recommendations. But yeah, like, we're not here to make our life difficult. I'm not here to make my life difficult. And I will remove anybody who makes things difficult and complicated so much need to be like, that's one of my biggest pet peeves. Especially as a grown adult, which means over the age of 25 and older. I don't care your race, your gender. If you're over the age of 25 and you still make life difficult, send and share this video to somebody who doesn't. But yeah, young people is like, okay, y'all figuring things out. But as an adult, it's no way. Because you know what's right, you know what's wrong, you know what you need to do. You're either going to do it or you don't. And over here, I don't make excuses. My content is not for everybody. It's for the mature audience. So now, getting into the recommendations. How do we start making our life simple and easy? What do we have control over? That's the first thing you have to realize. Instead of worrying and stressing about what you don't have and how nothing, what do you have? What could you do today to make your life easy? Go back to the example of your tire being flat. What could you do to solve this problem? What could you do? And let me know what problem you have in the comment section so we can come up with solutions. But it's like, what can you do? What do you have? If you're driving on the road, and you got to pull over, what can you do? Do you have insurance for your car? Do you have a spare tire? Do you have an air pump? Is there somebody you can call? What could you do? That's all it is. Like, think. We just have to take time to think. So therefore, we can figure out what needs to be done. The second recommendation, if you don't have certain resources, if you don't have certain tools, if you don't have whatever, allow yourself to feel like it's okay that it's inconvenience. Nobody's saying that you can't validate your emotions. Nobody's saying that you can't be mad or upset because, yeah, you're going to be late to work or now you're going to miss something. Or this doesn't mean that you don't feel any type of way. Don't invalidate how you feel, but it's like when you learn how to deal with your emotions in the moment, it's not something that you have to dwell on. And I'm speaking from experience. The longer it takes for you to deal with your emotions in the moment, the more they're going to, I can't think of the word, like fluctuate. The more they're going to increase, the more you're going to suppress how you feel. When you suppress how you feel, you take that out onto people and places and things who did nothing to you and yourself. And that's why people self-sabotage. That's why people distract. That's why people think, oh, it's so hard. And people just become negative, okay? Third recommendation, once you figure out what's in your control, once you figure out how you want to feel and you're expressing yourself, is to allow things to be what they are. Give it some time. Give yourself grace. Give yourself patience. You're the only person who's trying to rush this simple life. Once again, if you lived a hard body life, you had to struggle for 20, 30, 40, 50 years, and all of a sudden you want to live a simple life, until you make the necessary changes, like if you have things in your control, yes, you could start immediately. But if you don't have certain things and it's taking you a while to live this life, to shift and transition, allow yourself the grace. Allow yourself grace. If you grew up in poverty and now within 2025 and 2026 or whenever you've been coming in contact with these videos or just in general, you don't no longer want to live that life, give yourself grace. Like I said, if you are somebody who doesn't have a certain amount of money but you want a certain amount of money, allow yourself to give yourself the time to make the money. If you have a bill to pay and you don't have the money to pay your bill, allow yourself to do what you need to do. Like, give yourself grace, relax, calm down. Seriously, calm down, be patient, and trust the process. So the fourth recommendation is that as you're living a simple life, cut off anything or anybody who's not simple. Remove yourself from people who make things complicated It doesn't matter who it is. Until you remove people or you create certain distance or you create certain boundaries, it's going to be an issue. So what happens when you have to live with certain people? What happens when you have to go to school with people? What happens when you have to work with people? Because I've been there and I've done that. Speak to them when you need to speak to them. Speak to them when you have to speak to them. And only associate yourself with them when you need to. So if you work with people and they try to make your life hard and difficult, first of all, you need to realize that you're not meant to be there forever. Second of all, you're not going to be there forever. Third of all, you need to have a plan. Fourth of all, you need to have strategy and realize, okay, when you're there, when you have to speak to them, keep it professional. When you don't have to speak, avoid them, ignore them. If they want to say hi and bye, keep it short, keep it simple. When you leave and it's time for you to move, do what you need to do. Same thing if you go to school with people. People are annoying you. People want to make things difficult. People want to come to you with their problems. You let them know. You express to them, I don't live a difficult life. I don't have to struggle. Your problems are not my problems. If you're not going to come to me with solutions, I cannot help you. And I don't want to. Say that. It's simple. Because if it was them, they'll do the same thing with you. Lastly, if you live with people, because I've been there and I've done that before, while you're there, keep the peace. Let people be miserable. Let people be mad. Let people struggle and suffer on their own. Like I said, if people are not coming to you with solutions and vice versa, you don't have to worry about them. It's not your problems. It's not. I'm not an elitist. I'm not selfish for saying this. If everyone could live a simple life, they would choose to. Because once again, there are people in this world that people idolize and glamorize. They live simple lives. And nobody calls them out. Nobody says anything to them. So I said what I said, and I'm going to stand on it. And that's the fifth and final recommendation. Once you decide that you want to live a simple life, stand on it. Focus on the things that make your life simple. So I need you to figure out what your simple life, what simplicity means to you in the comment section on your notes. And I need you to write down things that add into that make you feel productive, that make you feel seen, that make you feel heard. So if your definition of a simple life or a soft life is not having to work 70 hours a week, what can you do today to not work 70 hours a week? What do you need to remove yourself from to where you don't have to work 70 hours a week? You got to think. It's only so much that I can do. If you guys are not applying this information, if you're not taking what resonates, why watch it? You're wasting your time, okay? And I'm going to end up a video with that. But that's your homework assignment. That's your challenge. Let me know in the comment section at the end of this video or in the next video. Thank you guys for always turning on your notifications, because a lot of you guys always be having your notifications on, which is important. So that means you never miss a video, as well as liking these videos. Like always, these videos are for you, not for me, okay? Follow me on all my social media platforms. Give it a big thumbs up. Let me know so we can figure out what we need to do moving forward. And when you guys follow me on Instagram and on TikTok for the month of November, I've been going live. So if you really want to get in the nit and grit of it and you just, oh, I don't know what to do, I'm lost or whatever, check my live out, because that's where we at. We talk. You get to know me, I get to know you, and we come up with solutions. And book your service in your session if you want an appointment. If you feel like these videos are good, the live is good, but you want like assistance. But it's like, life does not have to be difficult. Life does not have to be challenging. And I don't live a difficult and a hard life. I don't. I've never had to suffer in life. I've never had to struggle in life. The only time, like I said, I've experienced adversity was because I had to be around certain people, places, and things. But once I made better decisions and once I realized that certain things were not in my control, I started to focus what was in my control. So sometimes you may not, like I said, have the money, you may not have the education, you may not have the resources. When I was younger and I didn't have the resources and I didn't have the education, I didn't have the finances, I had to do what I had to do. I had to work in environments where I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to be here long term. I had to go through it. I had to live with people, and I'm just like, yeah, I don't want to be around these people. I had to do what I had to do, and that's it. Do what you have to do so you can do what you want to do, okay? Love you, bye.